Hey guys, welcome back to Assassin's Creed Revelations. This is sequence 9. This is the final sequence of the game. Ooh, ain't that exciting. But yeah, I had to pause it because I forgot that it just leads straight into it from sequence 8 and there's like a cutscene going on. So, yeah. Anyways, let's, get started on sequence 9.
Such a climb. È così bello qui. This is where your order began?
It began thousands of years ago, but here it was reborn.
By the man you mentioned, Altair?
Altair ibn La'ahad. He built us up and set us free. He saw the folly of keeping a castle like this. It had become a symbol of arrogance and a beacon for all our enemies.
And the mandate for menacing goods? Was that his idea as well? You mentioned a creed before. What is it?
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
That is rather cynical.
It would be if it were doctrine, but it is merely an observation of the nature of reality. To say that nothing is true is to realize that the foundations of society are fragile, and that we must be the shepherds of our own civilization. To say that everything is permitted is to understand that we are the architects of our actions, and that we must live with their consequences, whether glorious or tragic.
Do you regret your decision to live as an assassin for so long?
I do not remember making that decision. This life, it chose me. For 3 decades, I have served the memory of my father and my brothers, and fought for those who have suffered the pain of injustice. I do not regret those years, but it is time to live for myself, and let them go. Let go of all of this.
Then let go. You will not fall far.
The end of the road.
What do you hope to find behind that door?
Knowledge, above all else. Altair was a profound man and a prolific writer. He built this place as a repository for all his wisdom.
Oh, this is
He
interesting.
saw many things in his life, and learned many secrets, both troubling and strange. Knowledge that would drive lesser men to despair.
Does that worry you?
Sophia, you should know by now that I am not a lesser man.
Oh,
Ezio.
wait a minute. What was that supposed to mean? I feel like that had some implications there. I don't need a hint. What are you talking about? Get out of here, hint. I guess all the keys are just going into here.
You had better come out of there alive.
I plan to.
I can't run. Oh, that's right. We have to light every single brazier.
No books. No wisdom. Just you, fratello mio. Requiescat in pace, Altair. You have seen to my books.
Yes. Some we sent with the Polos. The rest will go with me to Alexandria.
Good. Very good.
Father, I do not understand. Why did you build a library if you did not intend to keep your books?
You should go. When the Mongols return, Masyaf must be empty.
I see. This is not a library at all. It is a vault.
It must stay hidden, Darim. Far from eager hands. At least until it has passed on the secret it contains.
What secret?
Go, son. Go be with your family. And live well.
All that is good in me began with you, Father.
In much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow.
What does it tell you? What do you see?
Strange visions and messages of ones who came before, of their rise and their fall.
But what happens to us, Altair? To our family? What does the apple say?
Who were the ones who came before? What brought them here? How long ago?
Get rid of that thing!
This is my duty, Maria. Maria? Where are you? If you are asked, say I sent the apple away. Tell them I sent it to Cyprus, or Cipango, or that I dropped it into the sea. Tell them anything to keep men away from this place. This apple must not be found. Not until the time is right. Another artifact. No. You will stay here. I have seen enough for one life. Desmond?
He's talking to me?
I heard your name once before, Desmond. A long time ago. And now it lingers in my mind, like an image from an old dream. I do not know where you are, or by what means you can hear me. But I know you are listening. I have lived my life as best I could, not knowing its purpose, but drawn forward like a moth to a distant moon. And here at last, I discover a strange truth. That I am only a conduit for a message that eludes my understanding. Who are we, who have been so blessed to share our stories like this? To speak across centuries. Maybe you will answer all the questions I have asked. Maybe you will be the one to make all this suffering worth something in the end. Now, listen.
Do you hear me, Cypher? Can you see me? Ah, there you are. Good. A strange place, this nexus of time. I am not used to the calculations. That has always been Minerva's domain. I see you still have many questions. Who were we? What became of us? What do we desire of you? You will have your answers. Only listen, and I will tell you how. Both before the end and after, we sought to save the world. We built vaults within which to work, each dedicated to a different method of salvation. They were placed underground to avoid the war which raged above, and also as a precaution should we fail in our efforts. Each vault's knowledge was transmitted to a single place. It was our duty, mine, Minerva's, and Juno's, to sort and sample all that was collected. We chose those solutions which held the most promise, and devoted ourselves to testing their merits. 6 we tried in succession, each more encouraging than the last, but none worked. And then the world ended. earth shook for days, the fires burned for weeks, and when the ash had settled, less than 10,000 of your kind still lived, and far fewer of ours. But we carried on, together, to rebuild, to renew. Listen, you must go there, to the place where we labored and lost. Take my words, pass them from your head into your hands. That is how you will open the way. But be warned, much still remains in flux, and I do not know how things will end, either in my time or yours.
Wait, look, his vitals are stabilizing. Something's happening. He's moving.
Desmond, can you hear me? Son?
I know what we need to do.
Oh man. Well, that was crazy, wasn't it? So yeah, that's Assassin's Creed Revelations. The ending just kind of hits you with a lot of information all at once. Yeah, man, I love this game. Can I skip this? I still can't? No? Oh, I think I just... Nope, I didn't. Dang it. Alright, so here we are. At another credit scene. If you remember Brotherhood, it was like 10 to 15 minutes, so we'll be here for a while. But we did get the last two base game achievements. So that all that does leave is the Lost Archive, which we will be doing tomorrow. Yeah, I loved this game. I still would say that it was better than 2 in Brotherhood. Just like the Hook Blade, Constantinople, like it's just... I still think 2 has the best story, but I think this one has the best blend of story, gameplay, and environment. And I do still think 2 has the better environments, but it has, out of the 3 Ezio games, the worst gameplay. And I think Brotherhood has the weakest on all 3 counts. Well, it has better gameplay than 2 because of chain killing and like parachutes and things like that, but I think it has a slightly weaker story and the weakest environment because, like, as I've said many times, I don't like Rome in the games. Oh. But, I think Revelations has the second best of the 2 stories, the second best of the 2 environments, sorry, the second best of the 3 stories, second best of the 3 environments, and the best of the gameplay. Which I realize, you know, that's 2 things that 2 still has over Revelations. But I don't know, Revelations I think just has that perfect blend. Because you got bombs, which are a lot of fun. Granted, I didn't use them too often, but I still love bombs in the concept. The Hook Blade, which is the biggest upgrade in this game, I think, and it's just so much fun. There's so many cool things, like free running is just completely overhauled and it's just streamlined in ways that we don't even see change until, like, Unity. But, like, or maybe 3, I don't know. I'll see when I go back to 3. 3 does kind of move things a little faster, but it moves things like kind of like how the Hook Blade was. just without having to hold the A button. They changed it all to the right trigger, which it worked for Assassin's Creed 3. It did not work for Assassin's Creed 4 at all. But I don't know. This game just, I don't know. I've always loved this game. I just thought it did everything like really well. And it had great characters. Not quite on the same level as 2 did, but like Yusuf, Sophia, Suleiman, like they were all just really, really good characters. Especially Yusuf. I really love Yusuf. I actually like the Desmond sequences too. They were, you know, they were mindless fun with good backstory on Desmond. I think they could have been better designed if you were actually playing as Desmond and like free running and doing these cool puzzles. That would have been a lot better. But I don't hate what we were given. I just think something better could have been made. And that is kind of the fault of a lot of Assassin's Creed games. It's like what we have is really fun, but we could have been given something better. And 3 is a really good example of that as well. Not so much, in my opinion, with like Connor, but so much with Desmond. And then that does kind of lead to the we deserve so much better in the modern day storyline from like everything after 3. As much as I did enjoy the modern day storyline in Black Flag, I did like walking around Abstergo Industries. Sorry, Abstergo Entertainment. And hacking computers, which I actually went the other day when I was playing Black Flag the other day. And I finished hacking all the computers and finding all the sticky notes that I didn't find. And I watched and read everything that you find in that game. And there's so many cool things in there. Because there's like the Subject 0 tests in the 80s. There's the Subject 1 tests. Also in the 80s, that are like, and that's like the ancestor, that's the guy whose ancestor is Avalon. So like, that's a really cool throwback to kind of tie things in together. You know, you get to learn about like Vidic's early process with like the Animus, before getting to the Animus 1.0 in the 2000s. With Lucy. There's a lot of really cool stuff on there. There's also this, and I'll show this off while we're playing Black Flag. There's this really amazing bit where they got Roger Craig Smith to come back and do the voice of this guy who talks about previous ancestors. So basically, you know, Altair, Ezio, Connor, and at this point as well, Avalon. And it's just this really fun thing where they brought him in to just talk about these characters for the prospect of making video games for them for Abstergo Entertainment, using the Sample 17 data. And he actually talked about it. I actually saw an AMA with him a couple years back on Reddit. He did an AMA, and I was reading it, and somebody asked him about that because his performance in it is just, it's hilarious. And they asked him, they're like, hey, was this on purpose? And he was just like, you know, me and the voice director, you know, we thought we'd have some fun and just kind of go crazy and just butcher everything, like butcher every name and just say everything so terribly, just to kind of poke fun at everything, especially since, you know, I played Ezio for 3 years, to just kind of, you know, make fun of everything. And so, like, he says, like, Enzio and, like, Altair, I think he says Altair Ibenhad or something like that. And for, like, Ratunagaydun, he says, like Ratanagadun or something like that. He says it different, like, every time he says his name. And it's just, like, I think he says, like, Aveline or something like that. It's just, he just says every name so wrong, and it's so funny. Because, like, the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, it's Roger Craig Smith, that's Ezio. And then he just says, Altair Iblahad, or something like that, and I'm just like, what? And then I find the Ezio when he's like, Enzio. I'm like, okay, this guy is very obviously, you know, just having just a good time and making fun of this. And yeah, he did, like I said, he did confirm it in his AMA, but I just thought it was really funny. because you know you don't really get to do things like that too often. It seems so. Just to be able to in the same world where you played this really memorable and to this day is still considered to be one of the greatest video game characters of all time, to just kind of come back to that, but not be Ezio anymore, but just to be able to make fun of Ezio at the same time, you know, it's just, I imagine that was a really cool thing to do. And then they did bring Nolan North back to record some audio files as Desmond, which he has gone, which he was asked about that as well at a convention about, you know, how he felt about how Desmond ended and all that other stuff, and he didn't like it. And he said how he was asked to come back and record these audio files for exposition, and how he really hates exposition for the sake of exposition. It was a really cool video. I don't remember what it's called. You could probably search like Nolan North, Assassin's Creed, or like Nolan North, Desmond's Fate, or something like that. And I'm sure you can find it. It's at a convention, and it's like a Q&A, so it's like a cell phone quality thing. And this was from like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. So it's pretty old. But he talks about that, and he talks about how he was told that, he doesn't even remember. I don't remember if he says who it was. Hey, look, Steve Bloom. He doesn't remember who it was. I don't think he does. He doesn't mention who it was, if anything. And he says how he was told originally that there were going to be 6 games, and Desmond would go through 6 ancestors, and how he would eventually become a master assassin because he'd learn new things from every assassin. And that's what he was told by one of the people. I think he said while recording Assassin's Creed 1. So this was like way back, like 10 years ago. But like he really wasn't a fan of how like Desmond's story ended. And because he loved doing it. He loved the Assassin's Creed games, and he loved recording for Desmond, just wanting to find out what happened next. Like, the dude's really passionate about what he does, and it's awesome. But yeah, it's also a really cool video. I recommend people checking out as well. It's also just a real shame too, because like I said, he was asked to come back and record these audio files, and what they are is they're like these memos he recorded on his phone during the course of the 3rd game, to give for his father in a, kind of like in a like a goodbye kind of thing. And if I don't make it, I'll have these to give to my father. And they're just these really long, like each one's probably, there's like 4 of them I think, and each one's about like 5 minutes each. And it's just him talking, just like saying, just giving out like all of this information. It's like, oh, da-da-da-da-da-da. I can't really remember what most of them are about. The last one is mostly just him, kind of like in retrospect. About how, like, he doesn't know if he's gonna make it, and if he doesn't make it, and if he dies, And I mean, they're good, they're well written, and but I do see where Nolan North was coming from, talking about how he doesn't like exposition for exposition's sake, and how those were just expositional, and it just felt like a hollow send-off for Desmond, just kind of a whimper. Going out with a whimper with the character, but I'm sure I would think that he would love to come back to the series, come back to the character, because they have said that they do want to bring Desmond back. At least somebody did. I think he said it was the creative. I think it was the creative director of Origins, and maybe I don't know, somebody at Ubisoft said that they did want to bring Desmond back, or they had plans to bring him back, and that's exciting because we have the Shroud of Eden. That is totally a thing. We have. Even in this game, we have Clay asking if he can leave with Desmond in his mind, leave with him. So that's a possibility as well, since both Clay and Desmond are in the Grey with Juno. Probably slaves to her in the Grey as well. There's a lot of possibilities in this series that we've already established that could be the conduit to bring Desmond back into the series. And I do think that would be a good choice. It does kind of, take away the ending of 3. But I'm okay with that, because the ending of 3 was horrible. It felt rushed, it felt unfocused, and just kind of like we need to get this done. We don't know how to get it done, so Deus Ex Machina, here we go. Hero sacrifice, bleh. And here we are. But it might have been, I'm going to butcher this, Vace Scalenwalt, the president and CEO. It might have been him. I don't remember. It might have been him. That's a name that I do recognize. That says a lot of things about Assassin's Creed, because he's like a big guy up in Ubisoft. It might have been him, it may have been someone else, I don't remember. But anyways, you know, it's I don't know, it's interesting to see where we're going. The creative director for Origins has said that they are really proud with of what they did for the modern day storyline, and they really like it. And they did kind of want to take it back to like the old school way of it doing things. I think he compared it to like Assassin's Creed 1. With I'll have to go back and look, but he did say that they wanted to kind of go back to this kind of how it used to be. And honestly, if we got a mix of like the mystery and like intrigue of 1, but like the gameplay of 3, that would be the perfect modern day storyline, I think. Because 1 did so many good things, because, you know, we were new to everything, we didn't know what was going on, they dropped so many hints that are, like, so awesome to look back at, you know, like, the satellite launching on December 21st, oh man, it's been a couple of weeks and I can't remember anymore. There's, like, oh, there was other things, I know there was. I don't know, but you could find all of these things that kind of meant nothing at the time, and I remember talking about it as it was happening. I just can't remember what they were anymore, because so much information has come in since then that some things have kind of been lost in the overflow. But yeah, it's really cool to go back though into the first game and, you know, see all of those foreshadowings. So, like, you know, it was a really cool game because of the mystery surrounding it, you know, because of, like, who Abstergo was, you know, why we were there, what is going on, what are they trying to find, and then when we do learn about, like, the Piece of Eden, the Apple of Eden, about, like, you know, all of these places with all of these other artifacts, and what the Apple can do, and all these other things, there's this really sweet build-up. You know, we got this like really cool build up after, you know, the whole game of just questions of like why, what, you know, and then it just ends, and we get a couple of answers, but then the game just ends, and then we have to wait 2 years for Assassin's Creed 2. It was awesome. It was just so suspenseful, and it got you so excited, and you're just like, I'm just so ready to, you know, to play the next game and get these answers and figure out what's going on. It was just such a cool way of storytelling, because it just gives you enough information to hook you and just pull you in, and then it just cuts you off right when you think everything is happening, like right when things are getting good. And I mean, that sounds like a horrible way of storytelling, and a lot of times it is, because you don't know when to cut, you know, what to tell them and where to leave it hanging to like keep that kind of like keep that fervor going to, like, you know, what's gonna happen next. A lot of games and a lot of movies, a lot of everything, they just kind of don't always hit that. You know, a really good example in recent times is The Walking Dead season 6 finale. I mean, the show is garbage, so I mean, this isn't really, you know, this isn't really stooping low for the show itself. Like, the show has been garbage for a long time, which is a real shame, because the comic itself is amazing. It's so good. Definitely one of the best, like, modern day, like, American comic or Western comics. It's amazing, and the show is just such a stumble from that. It's insane. But the season 6 finale was Negan's introduction, and it ends with a first-person view of him smacking a dude in the head with Lucille, his bat wrapped in barbed wire, and just like Goosebumps style blood just dripping down the camera, or like 007 GoldenEye style. It's the stupidest thing, and it's just like, instead of leaving it as a question of who died, it's the question of why did you do that? Because if anybody read the comics, they know who died. And spoiler alert, they do kill that person in the season 7 premiere. That's not the person that dies in the season 6 finale, because they did a bait and switch and killed 2 people, but the person still died. So it made the whole thing pointless. And instead of, you know, having this huge twist of this character who just killed somebody, and you're just like, oh my god, who'd they kill? You just get this stupid thing where you're just like, why? Why did you do that? A better finale would have been killing the person and then cutting it. Just like, he killed them, boom. and then end it. And that's when you get this just hat drop, this mic drop moment where it's just like, oh my god, like, this person just came in from seemingly nowhere. This person just walked in, killed my favorite character, and that's it. And you're just like, no. And that leaves you with this, you know, this big just kind of like thought bomb of like, what's gonna happen next? How are they gonna get out of this? All this other stuff. Instead, you get that stupid, you know, GoldenEye blood drip, and it's just like, well, that was stupid. And like, you know, but anyways, that's an example of how not to do it. And I think the first Assassin's Creed did it very well, because you kind of, Desmond's fate is just kind of like thrown up into the balance, because Lucy's just like, don't kill him yet, and they're like, okay, we won't kill him yet. And then, you know, he's just kind of left there. You know, Warren's just like, you know, we'll deal with you later. And, you know, Lucy is already at this point giving you this idea that she's an assassin, and she's going to try her best to kind of, you know, help you in this situation. So she like leaves, and you're just left, and it's like, what's going to happen to Desmond? And then you suddenly learn you have Eagle Vision, and then you just find all of these symbols, all of 16 symbols, and you just see these codes like, you know, 12/21 2012, and like which I saw and immediately was just like, oh, Mayan calendar, oh my god, this is gonna do like end of the world thing, which is awesome. But you know, you're given like all of these you know, symbols and all this other stuff, and it's just like, what does that mean? And the game just cuts the credits, and you're just like, oh, no, oh my god. And it is great. I thought it built up a lot of hype for Assassin's Creed 2, and it ended on a really, really cool note, because, you know, and even Nolan North said he was in suspense after, because she's like, what happens next? I have to know. And they're just like, we haven't written it yet. And it's like, so, you know, it was really well written. It did a really good job of drawing you in. And I absolutely loved it. You know, even when I finished the first game, I was angry because I was like, no, it's over. But then, like, thinking about it, it's just like, I'm so excited. You know, because it built up so much promise for 2, and I think 2 did basically deliver on almost every account, except especially on Desmond's face. Like, oh, his face got fat. But yeah, like, so to kind of tie this all back to 10 minutes ago, you know, so yeah, the creative director of Origins has said that he's really proud of the modern day, and he thinks it's a really good one that is going to kind of like tie back to like the old ones. So I really do hope that we get this really awesome mix of like mystery from 1 and gameplay from 3, and to get this really cool modern day storyline that actually does something, as opposed to us just being a spectator, you know, just watching, you know, Rebecca and Sean do these awesome things, or watching Bishop talk to us about how we're doing something great that ends up being nothing. You know, I want us to be influential in the modern day again, instead of just some Joe sitting on his couch watching the Helix, you know? Like, I want a good modern day. And what a great way to just suddenly come back to Animus Island. Like, I want a great modern day storyline again. That would be ideal. But with that, we are going to end the stream here. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Revelations, at least as much as I did, because this is a great game. So tomorrow we are going to be finishing up Revelations and the Ezio Collection entirely, and doing the Lost Archive, which, I mean, it is kind of a weaker note to end the Ezio trilogy on, because it's a fun DLC, but a lot of people didn't like it, and it is the Desmond gameplay. But I like it. It's a really great dive into Clay, Subject 16, his journey through Abstergo, you know, meeting with Vidic and Lucy, living through the Animus, and like all of his struggles, and the things that kind of turned Lucy and him to the Templars, away from the Assassins. It's a really interesting story. The gameplay, it's Desmond, so if you didn't like the Desmond gameplay in Revelations, you're not going to like the gameplay in this, but the story more than makes up for it, I think. And it's just really interesting. But anyways, we will be doing that tomorrow. So thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you then.